So our next very important person is Professor Lorraine Justice, who actually established a lot of infrastructural foundation for SDs to thrive. If you look at the report over there, you could see there are a lot of research lab established during Professor Justice's era. And also, she is the key person who created the Zaha Hadid building project. Okay.
I have stories. Yes, I have Zaha stories too. So, when I haven't been back to Hong Kong in quite a while, and thank you, KP, for inviting me. It's been a wonderful pleasure. But when I come to Hong Kong, there are some things that come to mind. One is all the buildings I worked on with Victor Lowe in this, I'm going to call it a town, because it's a small world in a way, Hong Kong, the group of people who work together. But this is my old passport. And when I look at this old passport, I get very tired, okay? But I kept having to get pages in my passport because one of my jobs here was to raise the international level of PolyU School of Design. And one of the only ways to do that was to go out and tell people about the incredible students and staff and faculty. And I did that. I went all over the world and told people how great the school was. And you'll see later on that paid off in our school rankings. One of the first things that happened when I got here is I was told, build the school, make it famous, all that. But I didn't know I was also going to be working on all of these structures for Hong Kong. And when I first got here, we were just putting together the Hong Kong Design Center. And it moved from the island over here to the Kowloon side, and it's where it is right now. So we had many, many meetings with the government. And I always found myself testifying to the government that it was going to be okay. And you'll see this is a pattern that went along. So anyway, establishing the Hong Kong Design Center was great because we also were able to support Business of Design Week more. And I worked on Business of Design Week for many, many years. So when I first moved to Hong Kong, I was staying in a building. They were staff quarters. It was called Pak Soo Yun. And then one day they said, we're tearing this building down and we're going to build the Hotel Icon right on this spot. So I ended up helping Kay Chan with the Hotel Icon, and many of our designers, their work is there, which is, I was very proud. I walked in there this morning and it was great to still see that work. So the Icon ended up being an international star, just an incredible hotel leader in service and everything hotel related. Hong Kong should be very proud of the Icon. So I found myself opening up the Business of Design Week for all these years, I think except for one. And it was a lot of fun. We had people come in from all over the world. We had the Italian masters, we had the French masters, we had just incredible designers and artists coming in to Hong Kong for Business of Design Week. And it was just, I want to say, such a rich experience, and we looked forward to it every year. And I worked with Victor Lowe. Patrick mentioned Victor, and I have to tell you, I worked very closely with Victor every week, and we would try to move things along. But Business of Design Week, his vision he said, if we can't take Hong Kong to them, we will bring them to Hong Kong. And that's exactly what he did. This is a little bit of backstory. This is about another building that I worked and helped them outfit, get some work into it. And it's Cyberport. It's on the other side of the island. And there was a fellow there, his name was Nick Yang, and he eventually ended up coming to PolyU, which was really a surprise. But anyway, he headed up Cyberport, and we ended up being one of the first entities, the School of Design, to put a research lab, multimedia research lab, in Cyberport. And I didn't realize how that had really helped Nick. And they featured us a lot. It was really a win-win. So I'll fast forward later to, this was really how we got the Jockey Club proposal in Zaha Building. So meanwhile, I'm working on all these other projects for Hong Kong. And during this time I'm traveling, we ended up becoming the top 4 school in Asia, design school in Asia, and then the top 30 of the world. And all of a sudden, we were international and global. And I really made sure that we joined the right organizations too, like Cumulus and World Design Organization, which used to be ICSID. It was really a concerted effort to get to know these people and promote the School of Design. And guess what? It worked. So we ended up also during that time putting in new design research centers. We put in new degrees and worked on staff and faculty development. And I have to concur that the staff here is excellent. I could not have done what I did without our staff. Just amazing, amazing people. And I was always so proud of them. And I'm still finding things in my papers at home where they've written down something in Cantonese for me so I could tell the taxi driver. It was just it was amazing help that we got. Moving right along, I found myself working on the police married quarters, and I had to go before the government. Once again, they wanted to know if this was a good idea. I'm like, yes, it's a very good idea. It'll bring a lot of small business and industries into that area, and culturally will really enhance the whole city. So police married quarters is often doing fine. Then the old prison yard area, where they had 2 new buildings built there. So I found myself working on that too. This is while I'm managing the School of Design, okay? So these were like extra things, but Victor had a vision and it was the right time. And when we could back each other up, he was the council chairman of PolyU at the time, and I was the dean here, so we were able to really move some things through. Now, that didn't come without problems. Politically, on campus, other disciplines were very, very jealous of design. It was very difficult to politically on campus to maneuver because they were resentful of design getting attention and eventually a new building, which you can imagine. So next, along with the design research centers and new degrees and faculty and staff development, we also had many conferences right in this very room, which was really kind of fun for me to come back. And I remember some of the great visitors we had and great talks that we had here. And those conferences also put the School of Design on the international map. We had global visitors coming all the time to our school to speak. And I think that's a tradition of course, that CASE and KP have continued on with, and I inherited that. So let's now go to why CASE's job was so hard when he came here. Okay, here's the background story. So Nick Yang from Cyberport, my friend, he ends up taking a position at PolyU, and he's the chief finance officer. And he came to me one day and he said, Lorraine, the Jockey Club is looking for proposals for something good to do for the city of Hong Kong. And I thought, this is it. This is my cue. This was like background information. And so I put a proposal together. We really wanted to get a building out of it, but I came up with the social innovation part of it and explained to them how design was going into social design and social innovation and how it would be for the good of the community. And so the proposal was really based around that research concept, but it would also house the School of Design. Well, that's when I met Zaha. First of all, it was an amazing selection process. And, you know, she was supposed to have gotten the building on at the peak. She won the Preakness, but they never built her building. And I always, you know, I thought about that. And so after Zaha won the building here, you know, I said, you deserve this. You should have had a building in Hong Kong years and years ago. So she was thrilled. And I really had a chance to get to know her a little bit better. She was also scary. Okay, she wanted to spend a whole day with me, and I was like, what am I going to do with Zaha Hadid for a whole day? But we just hung out. It was great. And I told her how she won fair and square, this building. But what happened actually personally for me was there was so much resentment on campus about design getting a building that I had trouble getting things through the Senate, which is where all of you were sitting. I would try to get things through the Senate, and they would shoot it down all the time. And it was just strictly politics, strictly jealousy. And I realized that, you know, this was going to be tough. So anyway, we ended up getting that proposal, and then and the building, and then people started to try to take things away, and it was hard to maintain that we would have that space to keep because, again, politics. I'm just very upfront about all that. And at one point, the building, it almost did not happen because one of Zaha's buildings in China, mainland China, was experiencing issues with the cement and the curation. And in other words, it was a rapid process and the building was showing cracks. So once again, I'm in front of the Hong Kong government and they're saying, you know, this was the Jockey Club board. And they said, why should we build this building? We're hearing about issues. And I basically said, look, this is Hong Kong. We have ARUP, the engineers. We won't build a building here unless it's safe and can be built by professionals and given the time that it needs. And so then they felt relieved and that went through. But that was a little bit touchy. So we, at many, many points, we almost did not get that building or the Social Innovation Center. And but I really owe what I got to do to a lot of people. And Victor Lowe is certainly the driving force behind a lot of what went on in Hong Kong in design. Again, a complete visionary, and I feel like I learned from the best. We worked together for 7 years. And Nick Yang, who tipped me off about the Jockey Club proposal. So, keep your friends close, make a lot of friends, don't make enemies. Sooner or later, a proposal will come to you. Okay. So before I left, I have to say it on a personal note, my mother had developed a brain tumor. And here I am in Hong Kong, many, many miles away, and my sisters were taking care of her, and I started to feel very badly about that. And so I had to leave. I had to find a job in the U.S. to be close enough to help take care of my mom. And it was great. I had a year with her, thank goodness. And so I did the right thing. But before I left, I had to testify in front of the Hong Kong government again about the M+ West Kowloon project. And they're like, well, is this going to be a good idea? And I'm like, yes, this is a cultural coup and, going on and on. And so I was really glad to testify for all of these places. And now they're in Hong Kong. And it's just remarkable that I look back and they were just great years, a lot of hard work. But hey, what else are you going to do? Work hard, have fun, right? So that's the back of my passport. And when I tried to come into Hong Kong this time, they said, "Where's your old passport?" And I said, "It's at home. I just have a picture of it." So anyway, enjoy.
Thank you, Professor Justice.